Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Ithaqua's Bane, bringing you all types of tabletop gaming. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, ring the bell, add some comments. Broken Shores role-playing game. We are back. This is gameplay number 5. And before we continue with the game, a couple of things we need to do first. I think on the last video, I did make some comments about traveling on the island, about how it was going to take so long and having to make so many survival checks every time we move. Well, I did miss one thing, and I did actually read it in the rules when I was learning the game, but I completely forgot about it during gameplay. And Alex reminded me. On page 92, where it says travel, it actually includes moving through hexes without exploring them. So there's actually 2 ways of moving through a hex. First of all, you can go into a hex, explore, find what's in there, roll on the where is it? Roll on the findings table and everything else. Or you can choose to just move through the hex without stopping, without looking or anything else. You still have to check for encounters though, for every hex you move through, so still risky. But it says here, page 92, under traveling, islands are all small enough that this action can be taken a number of times equal to the lowest constitution score in the party. So, Kerenga has a constitution of 11, so technically, in one day, I could actually walk through 11 hexes. Not stopping for anything, not checking anything, I'm not finding anything, I'm just moving through the hexes. But each hex, we still have to roll for an encounter. Now that's going to make exploring the hex map a lot easier without having to worry about getting back to your camp quite so much. You can still screw it up if you don't plan properly, but it is going to help movement. Second thing, I have some rolls to make. Yeah, I did some skills. I think it's just exactly the same skills as I had chance for last time. So I've got to have the potential increases in crafting, stealth, and survival. Again, is you have to roll higher than your current skill. If you do, you get a +1. So crafting, I need a 56 plus. Nope. Here we go again. Stealth, I need a 76 plus. Nope. This looks familiar. Survival, now I need a 57 plus. No. Here we go. Oh dear. Ithaqua's Bane, come for the games, stay for the dice rolling. Right. And with that, we are actually ready to continue our exploring. We are in Hex 3. In the last episode, we moved back to Hex 3 and we slept. We did have an encounter with a trader and we did find a potion of mend. But in this episode, we're starting camp, Hex 3, and this is going to be... It's going to be day 33, right? Here we go. Right, we're back. Let's go. Now, in the last episode, I did I don't know about tempting fate, but I challenged fate by saying that I would fast forward to when I managed to actually find an island. Was the last episode the island, or the episode before that? But I basically said, okay, I'm going to fast forward until we find an island, and next day I found an island. So I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to fast forward until we find a settlement, a ruin, or something interesting like a landmark, okay? Because you don't want to have to watch me exploring all these hexes with wreckage all the time. You want to find something interesting. So we're going to fast forward if we need to. Right, now we need to find out what's in the hex, the findings. Come on, percentage, guys. Give me something interesting. we get, okay. I think, yes, okay. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back. We just rolled up some ruins. Okay, it has been a few days. I fast forwarded. I'll let you in on what happened, but at the moment we rolled a 83 and we got ruins. We found some ruins. Yes. What does it say here? Use the ruins generation rules if you decide to explore them. Yes, I am. Of course I am. I want to do something interesting. So we've got 2 more shifts left. That was on our first shift of the day. It is storming today, actually. So again, finding some ruins kind of makes sense for me to go in to sort of get out of the storm. I did fill up 1 container of water. I did take a ration for today. But let me explain what happened while you were away. Let me see. We were, where did we start? Day 33. We started in camp. We moved to Hex 6 where there was wreckage. And 6 was desert. The terrain actually changed. So we've gone from jungle to desert. We also then went down to Hex 7 and we found wreckage, but quite a lot of crafting supplies. And then we slept, we passed our survival roll because we weren't in our camp. Everything's good. Day 34, we moved to Hex 8, still desert, didn't find nothing. I rolled an 05, nothing. Day 34 also have to take a ration, yeah? Shift 2, we then moved to Hex 9, which was desert again. This is all desert. 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all desert. But I'm basically saying that it's not actually desert, it's more a very dry area where the water has really drained away through the sediment. Whereas this area, maybe it's flowing into this area here where the jungle is to provide the vegetation, the trees and shrubberies and everything with the water. But this area is very, very dry. So we then moved to Hex 9. Wreckage! Again, I'll tell you, so many blooming wreckages. It's unbelievable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 wreckages we found so far. So yeah, and then we slept there. Again, I passed the survival check. So all is good. Good. Right, day 35, we had a little bit of interesting happenings. First of all, our first shift, we moved to Hex 10, but we found that it was impassable. The terrain changed to a thicket, very thick thicket, so we couldn't move through the bushes. And then, so we couldn't go in there. We then tried going into Hex 11, thicket again, in terms of the terrain. But we rolled up a obstacle or hazard, and it was actually a wildfire, which basically meant I couldn't move through there either. So these 2 hexes are basically blocking the way further on. So we basically just stayed in Hex 9 all day. We slept and we did pass the survival check again, so everything's good there. And then we went, in order to sort of get around this sort of natural barrier here, we came to the next hex, Hex 12, the one next to our camp. Storm. We've got a storm going on. We took some rations and no encounter, but we found some ruins. Now I'm going to show you how the ruins rules work. So, yes, give me 1 second and we will get started on the ruins of Hex 12. Right, we have found ruins in Hex 12 in our first shift. The rulebook doesn't make it that clear. Again, maybe I'm missing something, but I think when you then explore the ruins themselves, you have to do that as your next shift. I think that's how it works. Because shift 1, we're exploring the hex and we find the ruins. So it's going to take some time. We're not going to find the ruins immediately. So I'm thinking that the act of actually exploring the hex takes 1 shift. But then exploring the ruins within would be the second shift. So we are going to explore the ruins for our second shift. Now, When you're exploring ruins or derelicts, time works a little bit differently. It's not based on shifts. It's based on exploration time, or ET, far and home. Right, so ruins is in hex 12, that's where we are. Don't need the island map at the moment, so I'll move that out of the way. But what we do need is the ruin exploration sheet. And this is, it's not really a way for you to actually construct and build the ruin as you're exploring it. This is more like a quick reference sheet, a hint sheet, because it gives you here the steps for exploring the ruins. It gives you information regarding the time, and the time is important. And this is something which is also used in derelicts, although derelicts can be thought of as mini ruins. They don't have all the rules of exploring ruins, but they have some. But yeah, you've got this thing called ET, exploration turns, and 1 ET equals 10 minutes. And when you search a room, pick a lock, dismantle a trap, break down a door or container, that takes 1 ET, exploration turn. Now, why is it not just in minutes? Well, because ET is also used to determine a timer. Every 2 exploration turns, you have to check for wandering monsters. Every 5, you have to check your light source. So, with light sources, for example, we have torches. And I purchased enough torches to give me that usage die of 10. So what will happen is that every 5 exploration turns, you are going to have to roll your usage die. In this case, it's a 10. So I roll a d10. If that rolls a 1 or, where is it? Or a 2, it goes down 1 level. So now my torches will become UD8. And then again, 5 exploration turns later, as you're exploring rooms and everything else, you'll then roll again every 5 turns. If this comes up a 1 or 2, it goes down to a 6, then to a 4. And if the 4 ever comes up a 1 or 2, you've run out. So it's a very clever way of managing consumables without having to specifically count every single one. So 2 exploration turns, every 2 we have to check for monsters, every 5 we have to check for light, and every 10 you need to spend 1 exploration turn resting. And this will then continue. So you can mark these off. I think what I'm going to use is like a little token or something, just to keep track of where I am. But yeah, it's not on the second turn only, it's every 2 turns, every 2 exploration turns, you've got to check for monsters, which is like an encounter roll. D10 on a 1, you found something, you roll on the encounters table. What else is there? When you find a ruin, like we have done, you've got to roll for size. And it's a random, it's a D10 to find out how large your dungeon is going to be. However, it also uses like a usage die, this dice cycle. Roll every time you find a room, you roll the size dice. And again, if it's a 1 or 2, you then go down 1 step. So for example, if we find a medium-sized ruin, we're starting with a D8. Every time we find a room, we roll. If we get a 1 or a 2, it goes down 1 size. And again, if it gets to a D4 and then we roll a 1 or 2, then basically we've explored everywhere. Now, there are rules to counter any situations where, for example, maybe the dice are telling you that the ruins are complete, but you've still got places to explore. There are rules in the rulebook that cover that, so don't worry. Now, you can also find ruins when you're exploring the ocean. These will be, for example, towers coming out of the water, or very small rocky outcrops with small buildings kind of thing. Those are typically small in size, but on islands, they can be labyrinthian. What else is there? Okay, in terms of exploring, step 1, when entering a ruin for the first time, you've got to find out its size, original purpose, and peculiarity. Yeah, every ruin basically was built for some purpose, so you've got to roll up what that is. And then you have to see whether there's anything peculiar, anything sort of special or unique about the ruin in question. What else? Each time you enter a new room, roll a d10, and a result of 1 indicates you run into trouble. Roll on the ruin encounters table. That's in addition to the wandering creatures, yeah? If there's no encounters, perform an event check. So again, there is an event table. Where is it? There it is. Event table, d20. What else? Once you've cleared the room, you can search it to see if you find anything of value. Well, I mean, we're going to see how we do. Now, I am going to use a couple of other elements from other games. First of all, I'm going to name the ruin. Whether my character finds this out in the ruin or not, maybe he finds some hieroglyphics, or maybe some writing on the wall to determine or to tell me what the name of the place is. I'm going to roll it up anyway, but I'm going to use NoteQuest. NoteQuest is a game that I have featured on the channel before. A lot of fun. I've done overviews of the system. I've done playthroughs of the game. It is a lot of fun. It's very cheap. Easy to play, easy to learn, and it has a really nice name generator. So I'm going to use that to generate the name of my ruin, which I think I'm going to do. No, I'll do that a little bit later. Also, I am going to draw my dungeon or my ruin. Now, the game does not include any rules in terms of how to actually draw the dungeon or draw the ruin. It's not actually in here. So I think when the dungeon dive, I think he just wrote it down narratively, linking, with arrows to different paragraphs, kind of like a mind map kind of situation. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll to see the size of different rooms, and I'm going to plot and draw the map. In terms of the size of the rooms, I'm going to use the method from 2d6 dungeon, where you're rolling 2 dice, one for X and one for Y, to determine the size in terms of squares. If you roll doubles, except double 6 or double 1, you then roll again and add to the values. So I'm going to use those couple of little element from the 2d6 dungeon and an element from NoteQuest to help me to draw the dungeon a little bit. However, there is a table to actually determine the purpose, so that will affect the naming in NoteQuest. There is also, if I can find it, there is also an element here in the rules where you roll to determine how the rooms are connected. That's not in 2d6 dungeon. In 2d6 dungeon, there's basically just corridors with different numbers of exits. But in Broken Shores, we do have a special way of determining how the rooms are connected, because there are chances for ambush. So like I say, we're going to mix and match. There's rules for entrances and doorways and things like that. There's elements for searching. It's pretty detailed in terms of fleshing out what you find and helping you with the narrative. But like I say, in terms of actually drawing the dungeon itself, I'm going to use 2d6 dungeon to help me. In terms of naming the dungeon or whatever it is going to be, I'm going to use that creator in NoteQuest. Right, so we're going to be using a grid paper, but first thing we're going to do, stop talking, let's get building. Right, when entering a ruin, Kerenga's waiting at the entrance. Look, he's waiting for me to go in. When entering a ruin for the first time, you must find out its size, purpose, and peculiarity. Right, so we're going to roll up the size. We're rolling a d10. How big is this ruin potentially going to be? We get... Here we go again. Every time I start a new video, a new chapter, a new section, even a new part of a video, always, right, so it is going to be small. So that is going to be my size dice, a d6. So every time I find a new room, I have to roll this. On a 1 or 2, it goes down to a d4. On a 1 or 2, we've finished. The ruin is complete, but it is going to be a small ruin. All right, what else do we need to do? Original purpose. So the original purpose for the ruin is a d10. And it was a 6. storage. It was some kind of storage building. Okay. Now, I think that's the one where I don't have anything in the NoteQuest book. Let me have a look. Now, we go to the NoteQuest book. Now, this is actually the basic rules and the advanced rules. I printed them out and put them both together. Again, watch the videos. They're a lot of fun. The game's amazing. So this is actually in the advanced rules. We've got a section down here about naming. There is a simpler version in the basic game. The basic game is free. And it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of stuff and can keep you occupied, right? Yeah, so you've got a more sort of simple, more basic version of the naming in the basic game here. But if you pay, I think it's an extra $2, you can get the advanced, which has got a lot more game involved. So what have we got here? Okay, so there is no there is no storage version. I can just use the word store, I think. let's run it up and see what we get. So it is 3d6. Luckily, I did actually bring some other dice. So, okay, this is the ruins. What is it? It is 4, 5, 6, 7. The sinister store. So this is, let's get this right, the sinister store. Okay. Then we've got part 3 and part 4. Okay. So the sinister store, 6, 9, of the eternal, should be eternal. Yeah, the designer is Brazilian, so English is not his first language. So if there are spelling mistakes in NoteQuest, don't hassle. You know, it's perfectly good. Of the eternal. Oh my word! Of the eternal. Please don't have flame as the last part. Part 4. We get 7. Sadness. Oh no. Sadness. There we go. So this is actually the name of this ruin. The sinister store of the eternal sadness. Now, Kerenga doesn't know that. He doesn't know the name of this place unless he finds it and can do literacy checks. But we know the name of the place. So I'm going to write it up here. Give me 1 second. Right, here we go. The sinister store of the eternal sadness is the name of the place. So it's a storage facility. So we have found its size, purpose, peculiarity. So no ruin is like any other. Most of them have unique idiosyncrasies that can either help or hinder an explorer's job. So let's find out the little special thing about this place. D12. Here we go. We get a 1 again. Well, guess what? A 1 is no peculiarity. There's nothing good, there's nothing bad generically about the place. It's boring. Okay. Here we go. If that was Bane, another episode. Ones. I am the 1. Right. So we've done that. Now we can explore. Finding rooms, exploring, etc., right? So Kerenga sneaks up in case there are any inhabitants. It seems abandoned, but you never know. So Kerenga creeps up stealthily, quietly to the entrance of the sinister store of the eternal sadness. Discounts all the time. Black Monday, Black Friday sales not applicable. And we enter the ruin. Right, let's go. Each time you enter a new room, roll a d10. A result of 1 indicates you run into trouble. Roll on the encounters table. If there's no encounters, perform an event check. Okay. So we enter. How are we going to do this? Let's flip this round. He's entering. We're going to do it this way. So we have. Now I'm thinking for the first room, there's going to be no special entryway that's listed here. I think it's just connecting the rooms together. So we are going to have our entrance. So I'll put here our entrance. Right, so the first area that we're going to move into, and again, I'm just using the same method as 2d6 Dungeon because it's a simple way to do it. X, Y. Yeah, so what colour is that? Brown? So brown is X, blue is Y. Right, let's see how big the room is. And we get another one. It's a corridor. Well, I mean, technically they're going to be rooms, so I'm going to re-roll ones. In 2d6 Dungeon, a 1 represents it's going to be a corridor, but we're just looking for rooms in Broken Shore, so I'm going to re-roll the 1. All right, it is a 6x3 room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I'm not going to draw the other walls yet because we do have to check how many exits. So it says here, all rooms have a number of entrances aside from the one you entered through. Roll on the entrances table to determine how many. Now again, 2d6 Dungeon has its own little way of generating how many exits. So we're going to roll a d10. How many exits from this room? A 6. 1 exit, okay. So I'm going to put that in the opposite wall. So we've got walls here, and I'm going to put it dead ahead. Dead ahead. So exit there. Now the thing is, with Broken Shores, it basically assumes that every exit is some kind of door. And then you've got to check to see whether it's locked and anything else. So there's no kind of archways or anything like that. It seems that every exit has a door. So we shall put a door here. Okay, but before we do anything else, we need to find out about the room. So when entering, okay, every time you enter a new room, roll a d10. Well, let's find out what's in the room first. Room details and content. Right, let's find out what's in the room first before we see whether there's an encounter. So I am using my torches, by the way. Right, so d10. Where's the d10? There's the d10. We get a 2. It's an empty room. It's not surprising that this would be pretty empty in terms of what's going to be there, but you can find all sorts of stuff. Traps, features, other things, right? But we're fine. So what we're going to do now is check whether we have an encounter. So each time we enter a new room, roll a d10. On a 1, it says we run into trouble. A 3. So we don't have an encounter, but we do have to perform an event check. Okay, so if there's no encounter, you get an event. Where's the event? It's here. Right, it says, if there are no encounters, perform an event check. However, be careful. Because at the bottom of page 98, Ruin Events, it actually says, after entering a new room and encountering no encounters, we must make a Ruin Event check. So that it's not automatic that if you don't have an encounter, you will get an event. You've got to roll first. It's roll a d10. On a 9 or 10, you get an event. Okay. 5. So absolutely nothing happens there. We don't get an encounter. We don't get an event, which is very, very nice. I'm not going to check the door just yet. I want to search the room. So searching the room takes 1. Bob. Let's move this over there for the moment. Searching the room takes 1 exploration turn. So we're going to do that. So we're going to search the room, which is going to take 1 exploration turn. Searching a room, right. Characters can search a room to see if they find anything. Next, you must roll on the room content. And we did that first because it kind of makes sense to see what's in the room. Because in terms of encounters and interfacing with encounters and things, you might want to know what's in the room, things that you can hide behind, things that you can maybe throw. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe the room content roll should be done first. All right, we're going to search the room. What is in there? We've got a d10. We get a 5. Roll on the mundane loot table. Okay, I can do that. Again, I'm just using these photocopies from the book just to protect my already damaged book. The spine's starting to come away. But yeah, the loot's all at the back. So we're mundane. What do we find? Where's the mundane loot? Yeah, okay. So this is on page 115. We're rolling D20. What do we find in this room? A 13. A lantern. Ooh, okay. I can deal with that. So we find a lantern. Now, do I need oil to use this? I think so, don't I? Yeah. So we find a lantern. Is worth 100. Whoa. Illuminates a 30-foot radius, but I need to find some oiling which before I can use it. Okay. All right. Found a lantern in this room. Like I say, maybe this room is kind of like a welcome area where customers and suppliers, whatever, would actually come in first. So this is an entryway. Okay, sweet. What's next? We need to check the door to see if it's locked, don't we? Right. Determine if the door is locked. We roll a d20. If the result is 10 or higher, the door is locked. Now, picking and dismantling take exploration turns, but not checking. So we're rolling a d20. I'm hoping that it's unlocked. We got a 9. If the roll is at 10 or higher, the door is locked. It's unlocked. Yes. So it's unlocked. We can go through. Excellent. If it has a lock, we can roll on the random difficulty. Yes. One of the things I haven't been using because there haven't been that many opportunities to kind of use it is the random difficulty, and it's right here on page 22, right at the start of the rules, where you can apply difficulty to different tasks, and the difficulty can be easier or harder, or of course normal, of course, but this can also help you if you've got low stats. For example, my sleight of hand, if I need to try and pick a lock, my sleight of hand is not good. Where is it? Sleight of hand, 15. So I don't stand much chance of unlocking doors. However, depending on the difficulty of the lock, I may have an easier chance. For example, if I rolled a 3 for the random difficulty when I look at the lock, I could actually get a plus 30 to the roll. So it's like giving you that variety, that variation in terms of what you find. It's not always going to be the same. Not every lock is the same and everything else. Now, those difficulties can be applied to a lot of different things. But like I say, I haven't come across a lot of things where I thought I needed that variable option. But with locks, of course, we're going to apply it every time. But this is unlocked. I can go through. Okay, after and only after you have attempted to open the lock, you must see if the door is trapped. So, after and only after you've attempted to open the lock. So what if the door isn't locked? There's automatically no trap, is it? I'm thinking that seems to be how it's written. After and only after you have attempted to open the lock. So it's not locked, so it looks like traps can only apply when there's actually a lock on the door. Okay, so there's no need to dismantle the trap or pick the lock. There's no need, so we can continue straight on. Excellent. Right, let us continue. We'll open that door very sneaky, just in case the other side there's like an ambush or something. Very sneakily open the door just a little bit, squeak, and we'll see if Kerenga actually sees anything. But we've got to check and see the connector. Right, the room connector is on page 101, D20. What's on the other side of the door? 8. A simple hallway, 30% chance of an ambush if there's an encounter. Right, so room connectors don't have anything of interest, so you don't roll room content. Cannot search them, but encounter checks must still be made, with possibly some turning into ambushes. All right, well, the thing is, I can't be surprised, so ambushes ain't going to work on me, but we do have to check for an encounter in that area there. Okay, so Kerenga's now inside. I'm just going to move him out of the way for the moment until we find some kind of encounter. Right, so how long is the corridor? simple hallway. So again, we'll just roll a d6. Oh, it's quite a long corridor. Doesn't say anything about the number of exits from a corridor. So I'm assuming that hallways and everything else just have an exit at the end, because that's the way it's written. I mean, there could be. You can always use your own rules, but we're just going to use it as just one. So 2, 4, 6. So again, at the end, there's going to be some kind of connector or some kind of room. All right, so the entrance, is it locked? D20, 7. Nope, it's unlocked as well. Excellent. So now we're going down the corridor. We're going to find out what's in the room at the other end.